Do you feel that barriers to the expansion of the city limits as proposed in Plan 2040 will help or hurt housing affordability in Lawrence, and why?
I think it would hurt it. I don't think, that's basic supply and demand when we have, certain population pressures as we're going to have. People want to move to Lawrence for better or for worse. And you do not expand your borders to accommodate for those new people. We only have so much room to grow within our borders. We've already had projects like the Hub downtown that was almost universally hated in some capacity or another. It encroached upon our historical districts. They weren't necessarily working very well with the city in terms of partnerships, but those are the kinds of projects we're going to see more likely if we don't open up to the likelihood of expanding our borders. I also don't really like the community benefit idea in 2040 because it's not defined very clearly, and that opens us up to all sorts of loopholes. So it's absolutely restrictive, and it hurts our affordable housing processes.
I also agree that it hurts the affordable housing process. I certainly did not support the language that came out of the Planning Commission. The City Commission is working on some language now, and they'll see some more of that, and I think that's a step in the right direction. I served 6 years on the Planning Commission from 2006 to 2012. It was during that time, it was an interesting time on the Planning Commission because we went from having a very, very active market where we would meet 2 nights, 6 hours each because we had so many projects, to the 2008 crisis in 8, 9, 10, and we hardly had any projects coming through the pike. And so what we do with Plan 2040 is very important, and of course affordable housing is part of what I believe is a critical issue in the future of Lawrence. And so I do think the current proposal, as it came from the Planning Commission, would affect that and should be looked at.
So this is one of our top issues, affordable housing. And while I will remain open to learning more, the studies that I've seen is that growth never pays for itself. And so if we allow developers to grow our city without paying for those externalities, then someone has to pay for them. Taxpayers, communities that get disinvested in. And so I think we need to be smart about growth, encourage density when we can, and allow us to focus our services more efficiently. On affordable housing, the strategies that we're proposing is also about restructuring many units in our housing market today. So not just about supply, but we've seen from cities like Burlington, Vermont, who have 7% of all of their housing stock in their land trust. They have been able to push down the cost of living in their community by removing homes from this crazy market cycle.
So one of my platforms is Housing Affordable for All, and to me that's different than just talking about affordable housing. When we say the term affordable housing, a lot of times we're thinking about people who need help the most. And that's important. We need to continue to do that in Lawrence. We've got the trust, we've got the Affordable Housing Advisory Board that's doing a lot of work to address those that need the help the most. What I'm concerned with is what a lot of land use folks call the missing middle. It's that $100,000 to $250,000 home market. And in Lawrence, we are at almost half of where we ought to be in a healthy market. When we develop and we adopt policies and make decisions that artificially restrict the home market, it's gonna hurt everybody, not just people who are looking to buy. It's gonna hurt people who are looking to rent, and it's gonna hurt people who are already in their homes. Because as we all know, our taxes are based on fair market value, and those assessments are gonna go up as the price of existing homes go up. So even if you're not looking for a house, your taxes are gonna increase.
I am very grateful that the Chamber and the Board of Realtors and the building community brought these issues up and focused on them for a couple of reasons. Number one, the issue of process. There was kind of a question of it maybe not getting the same amount of attention from the committee as some of the other aspects of 2040, and that, of course, leads into transparency, whether or not people are being well informed about what the discussion is and how it's going to go. And that's really what I learned from that more than anything. It also shows you how important Plan 2040 really is. Each little land use change that it's going to lead to, you need to know that the people, the 3 people that you put up there are going to be able to look very specifically at those issues. There's many good things about Plan 2040. We should also remember to go and look at some of the things that are guaranteed to do a lot of good for our community. But we also need to be sure that we are building things that we need instead of overbuilding things that we don't need. Thank you.
It's fun to go last. It's really also wonderful to hear from my fellow candidates because we haven't spent time together since June, really. So we'll be spending a lot of time in the next few days. If we develop the same way we have developed, then I think Plan 2040 as written would increase the cost of housing in Lawrence. You know, there's other ways to look at this question too, and one of them is environmental sustainability. You know, if we develop in an environmentally sustainable way within our footprint, it's possible that, you know, we could find ways to provide housing that do not require us to sprawl, which is really bad for environmental reasons. So I think, you know, putting some of these ideas together, the missing middle, you know, how can we do this? It's going to be fun for whoever gets to do this work, so thanks.